After spending a couple of decades making cheap, cheerful, robust little cars, Citroen realised that the 2CV could probably be modified into something else. For people who, I don't know, didn't need roofs because they lived in sunny places where it was never cold and it never rained. And that's what this was, the Mehari. It came out in the late 60s and it was made right up until the mid 80s, I think. Underneath that, it's really the bones of the 2CV, but with a plastic body shell on it, no doors, perfect for resorts and lovely coastal places like this. So I've come here to the south of France where they've just started remaking this car using a lot of the original Citroen tooling, however, with some clever mods to make it safer, and it's fully electric. And I'd love to drive it around these roads in the south of France where it was kind of born to roam, see what it's like and get under the skin of like where they make it. So follow me on this journey. I'm Jonny Smith, you're watching The Late Break Show. This episode is proudly supported by Driver Reviews, Europe's largest verified tyre review platform. So what is it then? Well, like I said in the intro, it's based upon the 2CV. So it's front wheel drive and it has a chassis that's similar to the 2CV with that amazingly articulate independent torsion suspension system. And all this panel work here is actually ABS plastic, not glass fibre. And this is all bonded onto the original tub, which sits on that chassis. And then you've got this modern tubular roll cage, which bolts down onto it. The seat belts all anchor onto the tubular roll hoop here. There's a spare wheel there. You can have, I've got this here. The options list for all the upholstery is amazing. You can have the sunbrella kit, which adds sides, as well as this tarpaulin top. You can have little plastic half doors, if you don't like the nightclub rope. Or you can have a full canvas door for, I don't know, bad weather if it's monsoon season. And then the front, again, the bonnet lifts up by just unhooking it here. It lifts up there. You've got the motor, which is air-cooled, 15 kilowatts. And it's got the other charging, high voltage stuff on top. And then you've got the riveted front end. This one hasn't got the off-roady bumpers. You can order it with the 4x4 kit, which has sort of bull bars and a few bits of chrome embellishment, which I quite like actually. It's a charming thing though. Flat windscreen, which can fold down, which is why these little rubber knobs are here, because they rest on the top there. It's kind of like a mashup, really, between an off-roady thing, like an old Land Rover, or a Moke. And if you haven't seen, I did a feature quite recently on the brand new Moke, the re-envisaged Moke. I'll put a link on screen for that, because that's probably the closest thing today you can buy a brand new that's like this, that's kind of retro. But this is more retro, I think, because this is closer to the original than the reborn Moke. So the brightly coloured corrugated thing shouldn't rust in theory. There's no way to get in the back because there's no door apart from this little footstep here, so you just sort of throw yourself in. Really deep footwell, so loads of leg room. And then there's this cubby hole at the back here which lifts up to put your stuff in. We've put our photography gear in there, and that trap door comes down. You might just see the battery box at the back because the ground clearance is amazing, and you can rise these up even more and put knobbly tyres on them. The Michelin X, because remember the 2CV was invented with radial tyres. Michelin developed radial tyres for the 2CV, and this is basically the off-roady kind of like resort spec brother of the 2CV.
The electric Eden, just like the original Mehari, comes on 135/15 Michelin tyres. But when it comes to needing new tyres for your car, you probably don't have tyres this skinny. But whether you've got a performance car, a classic, an electric car, an SUV, or even a van, buying tyres can be confusing. With tyres being critical for ensuring your safety on the road, Driver Reviews can help you make the right choice. Driver Reviews can help reduce the stress of finding new tyres for your car. Partnering with many of the largest tyre retailers in the world, Driver Reviews brings you thousands of verified and unbiased tyre reviews covering all of the leading brands. So when you're searching for new tyres, look out for the Driver Reviews logo to give you peace of mind that the reviews come from real customers just like you. To discover your local Driver Reviews partner website and to find out the winning tyres of this year's Customer Choice Awards, visit driverreviews.com.
So your doors are optional. I've just gone for the OG, which is just the VIP nightclub chain. I'd probably put a bit of yacht rope across it. This has got the wood rim steering wheel, very slick. Seagrass mats, flat floor car like a 2CV. Really relaxing actually. These chairs are so spongy, and I've got the oh shit handle on the passenger side. No right-hand drive available. Meharis were never done in right-hand drive, presumably because our climate didn't lend itself to many sails, but that's okay. Got the hockey stick handbrake just like the 2CV down there, and a lockable glove tray thing. This is supposed to be scratch resistant, the panels. There's like a bottom half with the pot riveted sides, with the front and rear clamshells, and the bonnet which hinges forward. It's very simple. That biblical body roll that we're all used to now, although it's not, it doesn't feel, yeah, it actually feels a little bit more composed than I was expecting. MCC Automotive, of course, are really dialing into the nostalgic market with all the different types of fabric for the roof and the seats and the floor mats and the bright plastic body colours. This is a niche vehicle. I know that, they know that, and if you're watching this, tutting to yourself, you need to remind yourself of this is not a big volume seller, and at 37,000 quid and 37,000 euros, you can buy one in the UK, and the 2CV shop, who are the agents for these, will sell you one. But it's going to be a summer use only car, right? It's like a grown-up Twizy. So 50 miles an hour top speed, and that's restricted because of French law. Apparently with the 4-speed manual gearbox, it can probably tickle a bit more out of it. And I mean the dash is not the last word in ergonomics, but the analog dials and the simplicity of it, they're pretty good. I actually prefer the dash to the Moke, the reborn Moke. Speed ramps, not a problem, because of the ground clearance and that lovely pillowy ride. Honestly, this steering wheel is so horizontal. You forget. Speed ramps, it's okay. Not a problem. It's really nice. It's kind of like, it looks and it feels like, with the colour and the mats and the wood rim steering wheel, that I'm skippering a little speedboat, a little motorboat about. I'm going for a pleasure cruise on the river that happens to be a road. So no, you're not going to be buying this instead of a Renault Zoe. And no, you're not going to be buying this instead of the new Peugeot E208 or anything like that. That's not what the Eden is it? This is a bit of a novelty. I guess some places they've had orders from quite a few businesses to have them as like concierge and guest collection, transportation on islands, resorts, nice golf courses and hotels, that kind of thing. And you're probably not going to be doing a commute of 20 miles a day in it, even though you could. I'm really enjoying it. There's a noise to the drivetrain, and obviously a wobble when you go over bumps and things, but it does feel solid. It doesn't feel rickety in that way that 2CVs, in some ways they feel a bit wibbly wobbly, but they can take a pounding. If you order one of these with a galvanised chassis, which I think might be an option, it's pretty much not ever going to rust because the plastic won't. All the metal's powder coated, because these are designed to live a lot of the time by the coast. It's got a coastal look to it, hasn't it, mate? It's got a coastal look, coastal aesthetic, Would you like to become a Patreon of the Late Break Show? For a couple of quid a month, you get blogs every week from me, and you get early access to videos just like this one. No pressure though. Have a look in the description below. I'd love you to join our Patreon clan. Stefan, the first thing I want to say is this is a much bigger operation than I thought it would be.
Okay.
I know your main business is 2CV and probably has been for a long time.
Yeah, but the history of the company started with the Mehari.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Hence the name.
Yeah, Mehari Club Cassis.
Yeah.
Because at that time when they start the business, they were Citroen sub-dealers and they were living in Cassis, and they understand that this car is much more than a LCV. Is a car perfect for the seaside.
And the warm climate.
Exactly.
Right.
So
that's why that's how this started.
Exactly.
When this was still in production via Citroen.
40 years ago.
Right. So now this is a brand new car.
Yeah.
This is not based on an old car, as in doesn't take a donor vehicle.
No.
You've got some amazing donors out there.
Yeah, you saw that. Yeah.
Your graveyard, isn't it?
You know now it's a value, huh? Because even a crap, very completely destroyed car. If you have the papers, it has value for the Meharis. Huh?
I bet. So you have a graveyard out there, but this is nothing to do with the graveyard.
Exactly. In 2016, we created a subsidiary, which is a car manufacturer.
Yeah.
And we decided to recreate an electrical Mehari. It was a bit of a tribute to that car because we want this one forever. And we said, okay, the market is changing, and we need to go electric because for a car which is will be drive on the seashore, being electric is completely normal. You don't have any problem of autonomy because the guy they are driving this for a few kilometers per day. So it was, I would not say easy, but it was logical to go on electric with that car.
Yeah. Now behind you and here, ABS plastic.
Yeah, basically we have all the tooling from Citroen.
So this is the lower. This is the main lower tub.
Yes.
This sits on the chassis.
Exactly.
The chassis is based upon the original.
Yes.
Okay. I'm remembering what I was told. You can correct me if I'm wrong. So this is based upon the original chassis, which is 2CV derivative, but different at the back.
Yes.
This is bolted on where the battery pack now lives. And then this is this white part.
Yeah, it was for homologation.
Okay.
Because for homologation, we need to have the rear seat belts.
Okay.
And 3-point seat belts.
Yeah.
So, and it has been tested. So to have the homologation, which is L7E, it's four-wheelers, heavy four-wheelers, electric four-wheelers.
Yeah.
So we need this for homologation, but for the rest, what important point was to be able to reuse the parts of the Mehari because we wanted the look, but also in terms of economics, it was better to use the part that we were already producing than creating new parts, of course.
So this is basically largely traditional.
Yeah.
And this is bolted on, and it adds rigidity and safety, and it's clever. And this is all tied in with the battery pack mount here, but the suspension is all original.
Original, yeah. We just use, for the shock absorbers.
Yeah.
They are more stiff.
Yeah. So uprated.
Yeah.
Because it's a slightly heavier.
Yeah, exactly. And there is more weight on the back, so we need to work on the balance of the car.
Of course. And here at the front, again, the chassis you can see is as it used to be, but then you've just got the different mounts for the high voltage stuff.
Exactly, and we cannot see it here, but I will show you after. We kept the original gearbox because the brakes were and are on the gearbox.
Of course.
So we need to keep that way of doing the car. But instead of the petrol engine, we put the electric engine. But the electric engine has a kind of adapter to the gearbox.
Yeah.
And we had a kind of a part which allows to use the exact fittings of the petrol engine, so we can use every
mountings.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, that's cool. Because I know the inboard disc brakes and everything, they work well. So this chassis, you guys still make the chassis here?
Yeah.
And you bought the stamps and everything from Citroen?
Exactly. We have all the stamps from Citroen. We are producing all the components of the chassis, of course, in a dedicated, companies, because we don't have the big press to do those. But we have all the components, and in our facilities, we are assembling the chassis, welding it, and also using very old Citroen machines.
Wow.
coming from the Citroen Vigo factory, which was one of the latest, who was producing the 2CVs.
That's amazing. So Citroen have stamped this, they're given their approval to this.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's move over there, because then we can see this one's in a higher state of assembly. This has the optional doors. I've heard about the doors.
Yes. This is the doors for the 1968 version, the one of the first Meharis. It's a complete doors, and what is nice in the summer, you can remove it, and you drive, completely open.
Yeah. So they're just fabric. It's like the same kind of.
And we are also producing those in our facilities.
So the doors are optional for.
Yes. And you can have those doors, or you can have also half doors in ABS.
Can you?
Yeah.
So on the options list, it is full doors, like weatherproof doors, or half doors.
And you have the half doors in that car.
Oh yeah, that's got half doors.
Yeah.
With the fabricy bit on the top. Very cool. Very cool indeed. I have to say, I'm doing what? I'm doing 65 Ks. Going to go up to 70 Ks. And it feels really fast. It feels like we are really going for it, because you're so vulnerable. You can even flip the windscreen down if you want. Take the roof off and flip the screen down to have a completely open car. Do you know the most famous Mehari moment for me is the beginning of Club Tropicana by Wham. Yeah, that's what they ended up going to the Club Tropicana in, was a Mehari. Sad fact of the day. So when you see these being built in the factory, and the thing I love about this car, I must say, is that almost everything is made in France. It's still an extremely French car. And I think that's fantastic. They've tried to keep it that authentic and keep the legend of the Mehari alive. I'm going down to my yacht, just down in the harbour, yeah? I'm getting a bit of regen as I come off the throttle. But of course, if I wanted to, I could push that knob in and it would hold it in second. Going to start climbing a really, really steep hill. And this is not fully laden, and you can hear that the motor's bogging down. So I could keep slogging it out, but I'm actually going to choose to pull in, and you have to stop to put it into this gear, into second. Let's try that. Yeah, that's better. So that's your kind of crawler gear on this easy gearbox option. And like I said, you can just option it with a manual. Where we are in Cassis, it's extremely steep. We're going to go up to the mountain road, get a bit of a vista. Of course, this is probably one of the most important aspects for the Eden if you're a French smoking enthusiast, of which I've seen a lot over the last few days. That's for your ash, although of course there's nowhere else you could possibly put your cigarette ash. I mean, where else would you put it in a doorless, possibly roofless car? These air vents here are quite novel. I inquired about what the deal is with heating. They're not heating. They're actually cold air vents which get taken straight from a pipe that's wedged in the front of the radiator grille. I don't think I need any more cold air, do I? Because, there's air here. This is where I think this 15 kilowatt air-cooled electric motor, I think 4 people and luggage, I think it would be a struggle. I mean, this is an extremely steep hill I'm trying it on. I've got my foot on the mat, and I know why they've gone for this particular drivetrain, so that it can still be sold in France. However, I do wonder whether or not it should have a little bit more pep. I'm going to stop talking, we've got a hairpin on the go here. I'm worried that my phone will fall out. Oh, the body roll. It's a jolly thing, the Eden. It's niche, but it's jolly. And I like it. Would you buy a car with no doors? Let me know in the comments. Look at that view. That's good, isn't it? That's special. So what do I think? I think, yes, 37,000 euros, 1,000 quid is a lot of money, but I do actually happen to think there's an honesty and an authenticity about this car that attracts me, especially when people spend a lot of money on posh golf buggies now for resorts and stuff, which I wouldn't. I'm going over some seriously rocky ground intentionally in this lay-by to prove the point that actually it's a really rugged thing. It's stylish, it's rugged. I'd see it outside a resort, maybe all colour-coded or sign-written. If I could afford a half-decent boat, yeah, I probably would have one of these to just go into town. If I lived in Monaco, God forbid, something like this to potter down to the bakery in the morning, yeah, why not? And look, you just knock it. It's just a micro switch to put it into reverse.
Cars like this are not rational purchases, and they're not very practical. They will only fit into a certain set of circumstances for a certain amount of people, especially at £35,000. I'm not going to tell you that they are the greatest, most useful cars in the world, but I am so pleased as a passionate car enthusiast that this sort of thing exists, and I think it lends itself perfectly to an electric conversion. I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and this has been proudly supported by driverreviews.com, Europe's largest verified tyre review platform.